Alright, listen up. Some RPGs are just built different. You start playing, thinking, oh, I'll just check it out for an hour. Boom, 2 weeks later, you've forgotten what sunlight looks like. Your backlog is crying, and you're way too emotionally attached to a bunch of pixelated characters. Trust me, I've been there. So today I'm diving into 10 RPGs that will straight up steal your life. No fluff, no filler, just pure greatness. Wow. Let's go. And hit that sub button if you haven't done it already. Thank you. Alright, I have to start with this one. If you played the first Kingdom Come, you already know this game is basically medieval life simulation on steroids. And now with Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, say goodbye to your free time. The level of realism here is insane. Sword fights actually take skill, NPCs have schedules, and if you don't eat or sleep, your character straight up suffers. It's one of those games where you get lost doing random side quests and completely forget the main story even exists. And honestly, I love that. The world feels alive, and if the sequel builds on everything the first game did right, then yeah, your social life, consider it's gone. And let's talk about the combat for a second. You're not just swinging your sword like some button-mashing hero. Nah, the system is deep. You've got to time your attacks, block with precision, and learn the flow of battle like it's a dance. The Kingdom Come series is for the I want to feel like I'm actually living in the 15th century kind of gamer. And did I mention that your decisions actually matter? You can shape the world around you, and that's something a lot of RPGs overlook. So yeah, prepare yourselves for endless hours of struggle and satisfaction. You knew this was gonna be here. Like, if you haven't spent 100 plus hours running around as Geralt, are you even living? The world is massive, the writing is god tier, and the side quests, some of them are better than full stories in other games. The DLCs are huge, they feel like entire games. If you start Witcher 3, just accept that you're gonna lose months of your life. And you know what? Totally worth it. There's a reason this game gets all the praise. It's the ultimate mix of narrative depth, character development, and open world exploration. The way Witcher 3 blends fantasy lore with real world folklore is insane. 1 minute, you're taking down a spectral creature from Slavic mythology, and the next, you're dealing with moral choices that can break your heart. You get wrapped up in Geralt's world, not just because of the combat or the loot, but because every single person you meet feels like they have their own story. The world feels so rich that you won't want to leave. And when you do finish the main story, you'll still find yourself wandering the world, looking for side quests, or just enjoying the vibe. And that, my friends, is the mark of a game that is truly, truly immortal. Look, the first Dragon's Dogma was already underrated as hell, but now, Dragon's Dogma 2 is here to take things to a whole new level. If you love RPGs where you can climb massive monsters Shadow of the Colossus style, this is your game. The combat is chef's kiss, the world is dynamic, and the pawn system is still one of the coolest mechanics in RPGs. Plus, the amount of freedom you get is ridiculous. You can get thrown off of a cliff by a giant, and the game's just like, yeah, that happened, deal with it. If you're into RPGs that reward creativity and let you experiment with different builds, this one will consume you. And I mean that in the best way possible. But let's dive deeper into the gameplay. The Dragon's Dogma series thrives on its action-packed, fast-paced combat that feels so fluid. You'll want to fight everything you see. And if you've ever wanted to feel like a true hero, there's something incredibly satisfying about seeing your pawn, a customizable companion who grows with you, develop its own personality, skills, and quirks. The AI in this game actually adapts to your playstyle, so your pawns will have your back in ways that feel genuine. And oh yeah, did I mention the open world freedom? The world in Dragon's Dogma 2 is huge, and you can explore everything. There's always something cool to do. The game lets you experience it all on your terms, which makes it incredibly hard to walk away from. Trust me, once you're in for the long haul. You didn't think I'd forget about this classic, did you? If you haven't gotten lost in the icy wilderness of Skyrim, what are you even doing with your life? There's literally no limit to what you can do here. From fighting dragons to joining guilds to becoming the Dovahkiin, aka the Dragonborn. And that's just the main story. You could easily spend hundreds of hours just helping NPCs with random problems. And those quests will sometimes have you feeling like you're part of a much bigger world. Let's be real here. The real magic of Skyrim comes from the insane amount of freedom it gives you. And if you're like me, you'll probably spend way too much time just exploring the open world. The landscapes are gorgeous, and every new location has some hidden treasure or secret to discover. But what makes it so hard to stop playing isn't just the world, it's the atmosphere. The moment you hear that shout from the Dragonborn, feel the snow crunch beneath your boots, and see the towering mountains in the distance, you're hooked. And don't even think about trying to complete the game in one go. It's a never-ending cycle of, I'll just do this one more thing. And next thing you know, it's 3 a.m. Okay, this one might be a bit off the beaten path, but Tainted Grail is one of those games that sneaks up on you. If you're into dark fantasy, the kind that makes Dark Souls look like a fairy tale, then this one will have you hooked in no time. Set in a twisted version of Arthurian legend, Tainted Grail is a brutal, atmospheric RPG that will make you question every decision you make. And trust me, you're gonna make a lot of them. The world here is grim, with constant threats lurking around every corner. You're not a hero in this story, you're just another person trying to survive in a world that's falling apart. What makes this game so addictive is the grind. You can't just rush through it. Tainted Grail demands demands that you take your time. The combat is tough, the exploration is dangerous, and every choice has consequences. If you're the type of player who loves getting immersed in a dark, twisted world and building your own story piece by piece, then this game will eat up your time like no other. Every moment feels like a test of your will, and you're constantly fighting to stay alive in a world that seems to want you gone. The lore, the tension, the way the game makes you feel like you're never truly safe. It's all part of what makes Tainted Grail one of those games that'll haunt you long after you put it down. Dwellers, if you're enjoying the journey we've brought you in, please make sure to like and hit that sub button. It would mean a world to me. Thank you, and let's keep going. Alright, time to talk about Mount and Blade. If you've ever wanted to be the leader of your own army, fighting epic battles across a sprawling medieval landscape, then Mount and Blade is the game for you. Both Warband and Bannerlord are absolute time sinks, and they're not even your typical RPGs. They blend strategy, action, and role-playing like no other game out there. You start off as a lowly wanderer, but soon you'll be leading armies, sieging castles, and managing entire kingdoms. And let me tell you, that's a lot harder than it sounds. What makes Mount and Blade stand out is how realistic and unforgiving it is. Every battle feels like a huge chaotic struggle, and if you make one wrong move, your army could be wiped out. It's stressful, it's tough, but man, it's rewarding. And the strategic layer? You'll spend just as much time managing your army, dealing with politics, and navigating relationships as you will swinging your sword. The freedom to play however you want is what makes these games so addictive. Want to be a mercenary? Do it. Want to become a king? Go for it. Want to betray your allies and start a war? You can do that too. This game has endless possibilities, and once you get sucked in, it's hard to walk away. Me personally, I'm a huge fan of these series. I'm scared to name the number of hours I've spent on that masterpiece. If you've played Baldur's Gate 3, you know this game has ruined lives in the best way possible. I mean, we're talking top-tier RPG that blends narrative, strategy, and turn-based combat like no other. Every single choice you make, whether it's dialogue, combat, or moral alignment, has serious consequences. And that's what makes it so damn addictive. You're never just playing the game, you're living in it. You create your character, build your story, and then sit back and see how the world reacts to you. The depth of the storytelling here is insane. It feels like you're crafting a legacy with every decision you make. The combat is based on the Dungeons and Dragons rules, so every move requires careful thinking. You're not just picking random abilities. You're planning out strategies, setting traps, and leveraging every advantage you can. And let's be real, the world of Baldur's Gate 3 is huge. There are so many paths, so many secrets, and so many ways to tackle problems that you'll find yourself playing through multiple times just to see the different outcomes. Once you're in this world, you're going to lose track of time, and honestly, you're gonna love it, no doubt. If you haven't played Fallout New Vegas, then what's your excuse? This is one of those RPGs that just gets it. It's the perfect mix of open-world exploration, deep role-playing, and narrative-driven choices. Set in a post-apocalyptic Nevada, this game lets you carve your own path through a wasteland filled with factions, chaos, and morally ambiguous decisions. The writing here is top-notch, and every faction you encounter feels unique and fleshed out. Want to help the new California Republic? Or maybe you want to side with the ultra-cynical Caesar's Legion? The choice is yours, and no matter what you pick, the consequences feel massive. But what really makes Fallout New Vegas stand out is the conversations. They are rich, with tons of ways to influence the outcome of almost every situation. Your choices matter in ways that'll have you second-guessing everything you say, do, and even the companions you travel with. The world is huge, packed with lore and secrets, and there's always something to do. And let's be real, New Vegas has one of the best soundtracks in RPG history. That moody, western vibe with tracks like House of the Rising Sun. That's how you know you're in for a wild ride. Dragon Age Origins is one of those games that you start playing and instantly feel like you're part of something epic. This is the RPG that set the bar for deep character development, tactical combat, and world building. You're a Grey Warden tasked with stopping a monstrous threat, and along the way, you'll meet some of the most memorable characters in RPG history. The plot itself is fire, but it's not just the main story, it's the world. The lore here is insane, and you'll find yourself getting lost in the intricate history, political intrigue, and side quests. Every decision you make matters, and your relationships with your companions affect the game in ways that are both subtle and game-changing. The game doesn't hold your hand. It lets you go down the path you choose, no matter how dark it gets. Plus, the combat is tactical. It's not just about hacking and slashing, but about positioning, timing, and using your environment to your advantage. It's strategic, it's intense, and it's incredibly rewarding. Dragon Age Origins has that perfect blend of story, character, and gameplay that'll make you forget about the real world. If you're a fan of Obsidian's other RPGs like Pillars of Eternity, then you know Avowed is about to suck you in like a black hole. Set in the same universe as Pillars of Eternity, this game promises a massive open world filled with rich lore, deep role-playing elements, and intense combat. And I'm telling you right now, the stakes are high. Avowed is shaping up to be one of those RPGs that completely consumes you, where every choice and interaction feels like it matters. It's an Obsidian game, which means the dialogue will be top tier, the factions will be nuanced, and the world will be alive in ways that make you forget about real life. From what we've seen, Avowed promises to be a game where you'll lose hours exploring its world and uncovering the deep, intricate stories hidden in every corner. Avowed is shaping up to be the RPG of the future, a perfect mix of classic RPG elements with modern innovation. And you know what that means? You're going to be so immersed that you'll lose track of time and forget you've got other games in your backlog. Prepare to say goodbye to your social life, my friend. And that's a wrap, folks. Hope you enjoyed the list and perhaps found something for you to get into, or maybe even decided to revisit one of the classics we mentioned. But hey, I want to hear from you. Which one of these games has stolen your life already? Or maybe you've got a hidden gem of your own that should be on this list? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I love reading your takes. And if you're not already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and like the video so you don't miss out on future content. Fellow dwellers, game hard, game long, and remember to eat, sleep, and maybe see some sunlight once in a while. Peace.